There's a book that I read early on called Transitions by William Bridges, and it was written in the 70s, and it's a beautiful book, which is about the beauty of the liminal, which is, this limbo between old self and rebirth of the new self. And as entrepreneurs, we have this desire to fix, to solve, to, come up with a new idea, the brilliant thing. But there is, for true transformation to happen, there needs to be this willingness to accept the wilderness that we're walking into, and that it is unknown, and that rebirth doesn't happen unless you sit in the underworld for a while. And, I may be using terms that are alienating to some of the entrepreneurs, but what it means is that old you, the CEO who was, succeeding on this scale, who was leading people, when you are no longer in that position, there is a long period to celebrate the death of that version of yourself, to grieve it, and to go through the process of letting go of that old. And there may be other elements of that identity too, as you your family member, or you're this, you're a friend in these ways, and you support your family in these ways. There's a lot of these egoic provisional identities that we assume along the way. So when you have a big dramatic event like that, exiting your business, the best thing to do is to really ritualistically die to that old self. Find a way to say that part of me is no longer, and I love that part of me, and it's beautiful. But for me to enter a new phase of life that is more deeply connected to who I really am, I am going to have to go through a period where I don't know what's really happening. And that's what the book was about. It's about this beautiful liminal space between old you and new you, and that you can't just be reborn. As much as entrepreneurs are going to be like, okay, now I'm this person, and I'm going to be a VC. I'm going to make investments, and that's going to be my new thing. That's not really doing anything substantial. It's not fixing the inherent problem. So I think it's the hardest thing for entrepreneurs to do, is to go into this wilderness and just say, I don't know. I don't know how long this lasts. I don't know what is going to be entailed in this. I just know that I seek true joy, and I know that comes from a willingness to die to all of these ideas about who I am and to that former version of myself. And only when you truly grieve it and let go and exist in this liminal place for a long time do you start to get these little signals of what is that me, these little pulls around energetically. I want to do more of this, and this feels right. And you start kind of slowly moving out of the wilderness because you get these little bits of light, and you go, okay, there's something over there. Let me follow it. And that's a beautiful place to be, but you really have to immerse yourself in the unknown for a while, right? Because when you're in the thick of it, you have the blinders on, and you just know, we're climbing up this mountain, But when you have the blinders on, it's very difficult to be attuned to signals that will pull you in new directions that are more uniquely you. And this is, again, the hardest part for any entrepreneur. So that book is really helpful for me to understand what that liminal place really looks like, and that you can't force rebirth. You can't force transformation. What you can do is just continue to immerse yourself in the work and continue to walk through this wilderness and learn to love being in that middle ground and being a ghost in between worlds. But when you are a ghost, you're subject to all these, frequencies and signals and ideas and people and energy that you wouldn't have access to if you were staying in that mode of the entrepreneurial mindset.